The dust has settled on week 13 of the college football season. Hurts a little bit, man. It always hurts seeing the numbers change next to the word week every single week, and we got one more left here. College football playoff rankings will happen on Tuesday. We're just going to give them to you right now. All right, we're just going to tell you who we believe is in the college football playoff discussion. Again, this is college football playoff picture rankings. This is not a bracket. All right, I'm not telling you, hey, they get to buy this round, this, that, and the other. We are accounting for the Big 12 within this playoff picture ranking system. This will make more sense as we go, so stay dialed in. Make sure you're dialed in here. The best way to do that by being subscribed to the On3 YouTube channel. College Football Sickos, this is your spot. No hot takes, no clickbait. This is ball and only ball, the way that you want to talk about. So we appreciate you being a part of this, all right? So with that being said, let's start with who we think is getting in from the Big 12. Now, the reason why I phrase it that way, I do not believe that currently the Big 12 has a team that would be considered top 12 in college football. That's not a knock on the Big 12. That's just how I see that whole conference shaking out. It has been an absolute just Hunger Games, as we knew it would be. So, with that being said, I think Arizona State right now is the best team in the Big 12 conference. They control their own destiny. Obviously, if they win the Big 12, they will get a bye in the first round of the college football playoff. Cam Scatterbo, man, he's electric to watch. I mean, I think we all, the running back for Arizona State, must-see TV. If you haven't checked him out, you got 1 more week to go check him out for sure. And then hopefully another week after that if they go on and play for the conference title in Jerry World. Feels like we all went to high school with the Cam Scatterbo. Just like dude who's rocked up, plays running back, gets tough yards, probably a great hang. So Cam Scatterbo and the Arizona State Sun Devils, for us right now, are the rep for the Big 12 to make the college football playoff. Again, based on these rankings, I don't think they're in the top 12, but they would make the college football playoff if they win the Big 12. Now, at number 12, this is a team that, again, if the playoff were to start tomorrow, would not be in the college football playoff. However, I think right now they are a top 12 team in the sport. That is the South Carolina Gamecocks. You've heard of Cocktober. We're seeing Crowvember play itself out right now. Beamer-Sember doesn't have quite the same ring to it. We'll workshop that if we get there. But South Carolina, man, if they get some chaos, I think they're the team with 3 losses that would be first in line to make the dance. If they beat Clemson during rivalry weekend, they will have 3 ranked wins. They have 3 ranked losses when they got them, all to teams that I think were respectable losses when they had them. Again, Bama, Ole Miss, LSU. The LSU and Alabama losses were all within 3 points. The Ole Miss loss kind of is what it is, Chargers at the game. South Carolina hasn't lost since early October. So the brand of football they're playing right now, we got some teams ranked ahead of them. I'm not so sure that at a neutral site, I wouldn't take South Carolina to beat the brakes off of 1 to 2 teams we have ahead of them. So keep an eye on South Carolina. Again, right now, outside looking in, but I think if you get a 3-loss team in the dance, it will be South Carolina, and that in itself would be chaos. What they need, I think they need Notre Dame to lose, and I think they need to have a convincing result from the ACC champ to where the ACC wouldn't get more than 1 team into the college football playoff. So South Carolina at 12, outside looking in, but 12 nonetheless in our college football playoff picture rankings. Now, a team that would be in is who we have at just 11 straight up, and that is the Boise State Broncos. For the longest time, talked about them as our G5 rep, our team that's going to be the team that is the highest ranked conference champion from the group of 5. They may end up getting a bye in this whole thing when it comes to the college football playoff in and of itself. Now, they still, I think, will have to get through UNLV one more time. Mountain West Conference Championship game should be cinematic, but, if you're Boise State, keep doing what you're doing and have a chance to not just make the playoff, but have a bye on your way into the college football playoff for that first round. At number 10, I got SMU. Schedule is the schedule. They have clinched a berth in the ACC championship game. I don't think you want to leave it up to chance and find your way in as an at-large bid if you drop the game to call it a Miami if you see them there. SMU right now, that what they're doing, what Rhett Lashley has done out there in Dallas deserves a lot of attention. The level that Kevin Jennings is playing at deserves at least a dash of Heisman buzz. SMU for us at number 10. At number 9, I got Notre Dame. Hey, man, Notre Dame, I know the NIU loss is ugly, and that's kind of a black eye on the resume, but credit Marcus Freeman, they're leaving no doubt. They are not leaving any room for interpretation of, but they played Army kind of close. Navy kind of got them by, it's close, 1-score win. They're blowing the doors off teams. What they did to Army this past weekend was no exception. Notre Dame controls their own destiny. Keep on winning. You'll be in the dance. and have a chance to make some noise when you get there. Now, if you have Notre Dame ahead of Indiana, I don't have a ton of pushback for you. I have Indiana at 8 because they've beat the doors off everybody they've played except for Ohio State. I mean, going into this weekend, they had the largest margin of victory in the entire country. It was darn near 30 points. So they lost to, by a pretty convincing margin, what some would say is the best roster in college football. Some being myself, I would say that. But still, Indiana, it's hard to put them too much further down the list for me than number 8 in the playoff picture rankings. With the chaos across the SEC, I think Indiana should feel pretty confident, as Curt Cignetti does, that 11-1 Hoosiers are, in fact, in the dance. At number 7, I got Tennessee. Great day for Tennessee. I mean, that beat UTEP. I think it was like 56-0. And they saw Ole Miss catch an L. They saw Bama catch an L. And they found out Georgia's playing in the SEC championship game. They'll play the winner of Texas and Texas A&M. And Tennessee's just hanging out there like, cool. Hey, get the popcorn, get the libations, and we'll go ahead and watch the SEC title game in Atlanta and feel pretty good about our chances to make the college football playoff. Tennessee is a team that I think the 12-team format will cater to in a very, very impactful way, in the sense that it is not unfathomable that Tennessee could find themselves with home field advantage for that first round of the college football playoff. And oh, by the way, the defense is going to keep them in every single game. They're like that team in March Madness that has a great defensive presence. They got some bigs to lean on, which is their run game and Dylan Sampson. And they're a streaky shooting team. Nico Iamaleava, you've seen the good against some lesser competition. He struggled against teams like Georgia, but even so, man, if he puts it together, if the 3 ball is falling for Tennessee, what have we seen in March Madness? Teams make a run when they're hot at the right time. I don't think it is just a foregone conclusion that teams will be able to match up without any issues against this Josh Heupel wide split kind of offense. So Tennessee at 7 this week. Feel good about your chances to make the college football playoff in general. And you got to check the box against Vandy. But if they get in the dance, don't let the Vols get hot. At number 6 now, I got Miami. Now, Miami is behind some teams with more losses than them. The reason why I have Miami at 6 and not higher is because I haven't seen them play consistently a complementary style of football. Now, if they play complementary football, I mean, who knows what they could end up being. They're an absolute wagon in that sense. Just handle business. Same thing was said about SMU is the same thing I'd say about Miami. Don't let the rankings matter. Don't give them an excuse to keep you out of the dance. Miami has got the personnel, I think, to compete with almost anyone in college football. But personnel and execution are two very different things. Miami has lacked a little bit more so in the latter. Now, I will say this too. Get Cam Ward in a playoff game, just the way that dude's wired, the competitive composure that he has, I'd be surprised if he didn't have a little something for whoever they saw in that first game in the college football playoff for the Miami Hurricanes. Would obviously be in the second round with them winning the ACC in this scenario. I think the Georgia Tech loss could be their origin story. So Miami for me at 6 this week. At number 5, I got Georgia. They've clinched a spot in the SEC championship game. I don't know if there's a better coach in college football. In fact, I'll say this. There's not a better coach in college football than Kirby Smart at getting his team ready for a one-game season. The scary thing now for everyone else, that's what Georgia has in front of them. Whether it's true or not, I think Kirby Smart will tell his football team, hey, if you lose this game in the SEC title game, I don't know if you're making the playoff. That might be game, set, match for y'all. Now, I don't think we really believe that, but if his team believes that, that's scary. And then if they do end up losing in the SEC title game, and they do find their way into the college football playoff, at that point you got Kirby Smart with even more ammunition to get his team dialed in and get them motivated. One-game season now, and in the hunting mode spots for Georgia post-losses. They lose to Alabama, and they go beat the brakes off of a Texas. They lose to an Ole Miss. They go beat the brakes off of a Tennessee. So keep an eye on Georgia. Now, I think them in a tournament setting with Kirby Smart throwing the gauntlet down before them, that would scare me. That would very much so scare me. I have them at 5. Now, to be honest, I'd have them probably beating a team like Penn State. I have them at 4. There are teams I feel better about than Penn State, and yesterday's win over Minnesota didn't really do a whole lot to make me feel more confident in them. But at the same time, there's not a whole lot of resumes that I feel a lot better about when it comes to what Penn State's done this year. Like, the only knock they have there is that they lost to arguably the best team in college football by a score. And they had the number 1 team in college football on the ropes early, 10-0. So, or arguably number 1 team in college football. We'll get to that later. The bottom line here is, like, if you love Penn State, you hate Penn State, I have a hard time putting them a lot lower than 4 outside of the top 5. The key for them, we say this every week, can Andy Koltanecki evolve from that game against Ohio State and equip them to be explosive in those big spots when they play Notre Dame or they play in Indiana or whoever they end up drawing in the first round of the college football playoff. And number 3, I got Texas. Hey, win in, you're in, baby. Win in, you're in. You beat A&M, and if they make the SEC title game with one loss, like make no mistake, they're in. There is no discussion. They are in. If they lose that game against Texas A&M and they don't make the SEC championship, you probably have some margin now with the chaos across the SEC. However, Texas, I keep on waiting for them to be able to hit the reset button and to be able to play at the brand and caliber that we saw from them early on in the year, the team that went to the big house and took belt to behind against the Wolverines. I think that level of play is still there. That horsepower is still there. Don't sleep on Texas now. I know the Georgia loss kind of distorted the optics around them, and I know that they haven't looked as impressive as you would like against teams like Arkansas and against Kentucky. Like, I'm just saying now, Texas, same thing with Georgia. Get them in a tournament setting. Get Steve Sarkisian in that mode. Quinn Ewers, the experience factor. I think Texas is a real deal team. I think they'll be a semifinalist when it's all said and done. Ohio State for me at 2. Again, if you have them at number 1, I mean, more power to you. The team ahead of them, for us, beat them by 1 point, so it is what it is. They can clinch a spot in the Big Ten championship game to set up a rematch with Oregon with a win over Michigan this weekend. I want to make sure because, I mean, what more do you have to say about Ohio State? I mean, they beat the brakes off Indiana. Big Dog was walking out there in Columbus. Good to see. You can win a national title with Will Howard. Pretty much all I have to say about that. Period, mic drop. I mean, that is what I want us to all be clear about. There was a question like, hey, can you win in spite of Will Howard? He doesn't have to be a game manager for you. He can do that, and that's awesome, but like he has proven now in games against Oregon with his stat line there, the way that he balled against Indiana, like he is good enough to be the catalyst for you when you don't have it firing on all cylinders on other parts of your offense. So Ohio State at 2, and they will have their say on the national championship race when it's all said and done. Then Oregon at number 1. The thing I like about Oregon right now, outside of the fact they're undefeated and outside of the fact they have a win over Ohio State, they got their letdown already out of the way against Wisconsin. If we didn't see a letdown from Oregon before the Big Ten title game, I'd be a little bit more antsy, a little bit more nervous. They'll be in the college football playoff, just a matter of if they have a bye or not, and more than likely will come down to can they beat Ohio State twice in order to get that bye. So it's a lot there. Let's recap our college football playoff picture rankings, and we'll add some context here to what you're seeing on your screen. The Big 12 team for us is Arizona State. I don't think they're a top 12 team right now. Doesn't matter what I think. If they win out, they're in the dance. At number 12, on the outside looking in right now, if they get some chaos, South Carolina, I think is that first team of the 3-loss group to get a nod to the college football playoff. I think they're a top 12 team right now. The G5 rep, but I think the 11th best team in college football right now is Boise State. Probably have to beat UNLV again to be that G5 highest-ranked conference champion. SMU at 10, Notre Dame at 9, Indiana at 8, Tennessee at 7, Miami at 6, Georgia at 5, Penn State at 4, Texas at 3, Ohio State at 2, and your Oregon Ducks at number 1. Get in the comment section. Get at me on the socials. Would love to hear from you all over there. I can't imagine we disagree in any way, shape, or form. Anytime we release rankings, it's usually met with just 100% agreement. But if you do somehow, some way disagree, let us know there, and we'll chop it up on the Instagram and Twitter platforms at JD PicKell. Hey, appreciate y'all. Let's soak this in. Love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.